My name is Beethe. I'm in 3rd grade. I like to do baseball and volleyball. I wrestle with my brothers, and we ride around the neighborhood on our electric bikes, and sometimes we even play kickball.
I am a cardiac anesthesiologist at Children's, and on January 19th, 2022 was like any other day where I walked in to meet my patient in pre-op, and it was true. And he was 4, and he was sitting there by himself, and he was scared and nervous. I was a foster parent at the time, and the fact that no one was there for him was just very alarming to me. And so I called his social worker and I said, where is somebody for him? It's kind of told me the story of how she's really struggling to find a placement for True and all of his medical needs. And she just said to me, "Are you an option?" And she was halfway joking because she didn't know that I was actually a licensed foster parent at the time. And I just said, well, maybe. Called my husband. I just said, hey, there's this little boy up here and I think we can help him. And he said yes.
True is one of the funniest kids that you'll ever get to meet. So he comes in every single day when I see him in clinic and brightens up the room. True is one of many patients that has congenital heart disease. Congenital heart disease affects about 1 in 110 patients. And in True's case, he has one of the more severe forms of heart disease where he has a single pumping chamber of his heart. And so as a result, he has one pumping chamber that is able to do the majority of the workload for both pumping blood to the lungs and to the body. And that's taken multiple surgical interventions in order to correct his heart to the point that it is now so that he can be the lively kid that he is here today.
I just know that every time I run, I get short of breath easily. Feels heavy. Like every time I run, I feel heavy of breath. So I have to sit down. I want to play with my friends, and I don't like when I have to sit out.
Never thought I would be parents to somebody who, with the heart condition and potentially needing a transplant down the road. And still remember coming up to Children's and walking into his room, and every time he was just sitting there watching the TV by himself. I think the first time we walked into the hospital, True had several bottles of hot sauce sitting by his bed, and I share that as well, so it's something we have in common. For True, I want to see him live a life just like any of our other kids, get through high school, go to college, and get married, and have a family of his own, and he can do anything just like everyone else, and his heart condition won't hold him back.
In preparation for this, I look back through True's chart and you see a number of procedures and interventions that he's had. I counted up about 5 surgical interventions that he's had and about 10 cardiac catheterizations that he's had. And unfortunately, that number is going to grow in his future just based on the complexity of his heart. At some point in his life, he's going to require cardiac transplantation. But we try to focus on the here and now as well. And True is thriving and doing all the things that a normal 3rd grader would do. He's active at school, he plays with his siblings, he participates in sports in his community. And so we want to have him continue doing all of those things as we wait for that next step in his care. And fortunately here at Children's Nebraska, we're ready for that next step when he's going to need to take it.
True's story is a great story. It's just not over. I want that happy ending for him. I really do. The only way that happens is if there is continued support for cardiac research through programs like the American Heart Association. It's just vital. When people say, oh, in the 1980s, he wouldn't have survived. I don't even know if 10 years ago he would have survived. Every decade is better. Families of patients with congenital heart disease want every decade to continue to get better. And the only way that happens is if there's continued support for research and continued support for development of these programs and surgeries and support of all of it that gets my son to my goal of being just a healthy adult.
The support that they bring together and then the financial backing, it just continues to drive the mission and make sure that no kids left behind. And there's so many people just like True that are out there. Publicity and exposure, it might reach one more family, then can change their lives as well.
You have a group of kids and they all had special hearts. Is there something you would tell them? Like any advice you would give them?
You can do anything you want.